welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another video in my new professional location. So I think that I am going to record videos here, at least for this year. I'm not very sure though, we will see. Like, this is the place in the house with best lighting, but I am also directly under the skylight, which makes it so that there's a lot of noise when it's raining. So right now it's currently storming pretty harshly, but I hope it's actually relaxing and not annoying. I'll see what happens when I'm editing this video. Maybe I change my mind, maybe I don't. So today I'm going to talk about the languages that I speak and how I came to learn them, or how I came to be interested in them or have the opportunity to learn them. Yes, I'm in my pajamas, so we're going to ignore that. This is a little bit like in the pandemic when you just dress like half of your clothes. But yeah, I just wanted to be comfy, but I wanted to be a little bit presentable, so I chose to put on a shirt. But I was like, yeah, no, I'm in my pajamas, I'm good. So anyway, we're going to talk about the languages that I speak and how I came to learn them. And I think that technically I'm not a polyglot, because I am not completely fluent in 5 languages. I am semi-fluent, semi-learning them, right? So that's why I'm going to talk about them, and I guess the accurate term would be multilingual, but we'll see. So I don't want to make this a super long intro, so I'm going to start already. If you see me looking down, it's because I have my iPad here with the notes on everything. Not because I'm going to forget about the language, but mainly because I might forget about something that I wanted to say. So I sat down like before I'm recording this, and I wrote a script of the stuff that I want to say. Like, literally the first point is technically I'm not a polyglot. Let's get into the video. I want to start basically in a chronological order until the last languages, and that would mean starting with my mother tongue, which is Basque. So for the people who don't know, I am from the Basque country, the Spanish side of the Basque country. I'm from Bilbao, or like from the area close to it. And so my first language was Basque, and because Basque is a minority language, it's still a choice for a lot of parents in the Basque country to decide whether they talk to their children in Spanish or in Basque. My parents chose Basque because it was the one that they consider their language, and it's the one that I come to consider my language. Even if I speak like other languages completely fluently, Basque will always be my first language, my mother tongue, and my language. And so basically everyone in my family just were in agreement that to the kid they only spoke Basque, and I was the kid. So everyone started only speaking Basque to me when I was born. Everyone only spoke Basque to me. They were not allowed to speak any other language around me. So I basically grew up with Basque being the standard at home, and that's how I learned it. Basically, it was the only language I spoke until I was about 4 years old, because it was the only language I came in contact with. Even in school, the kindergarten I went to, it was a Basque kindergarten, so they only speak, like most of the kids there spoke Basque. So that was the only language that I knew, that was the only language that I had come in contact with, which is very weird because I was living at the time very close to Bilbao, and that's why it doesn't make sense that I didn't come in contact with the Spanish. That's why it didn't make sense that I didn't come in contact with the Spanish sooner. But I don't know how my parents managed that, but they did. So yeah, Basque is my first and mother language and my language, and it's also the favorite language that I speak, not only because of that, but also because it's special, I feel like, in comparison to other languages, in the sense of like Basque is known in the European language, is a mystery where it comes from, is suspected to be one of the oldest languages in Europe. So basically just like the mystery around it, and nobody knows where it comes from, why the Basque people survived the Romans, why the Basque people survived all the invasions that happened like through history. It is also a language that was banned for 40 years in the last 100 years, and that makes it like extra special because it even survived being banned. People were still illegally speaking it, and to this day, like, that will always be like my language. I already like have like the clear idea that I don't care where I live. Like, I honestly don't care if I'm living like in the future when I settle down and everything. I don't care if I'm living in the Basque country or in any other country in the world. I know that my kids will speak Basque. I know that I will talk in Basque to my kids, and then they will learn the local language, the language of their father, whatever, but they will speak Basque. And like, technically I didn't have to learn it, right? So there's not much else to say there. I just grew up with it. But then there's Spanish. Now, not giving Spanish native language status here, or like adding it to like my native language list, would be a disservice to you guys, because I actually learned Spanish still when I was young. I learned Spanish still when I was like 4 years old, I think. So when I was 4, my parents had to switch my schooling from where I did kindergarten to a new school. And in this new school, most of the kids did not speak Basque. Most of the kids came from families where they spoke Spanish at home. So when I started going to class, really, I didn't have anyone to talk to. And I think I only had like 2 classmates that were native Basque speakers, or like Euskaldun Zaharrak. That's how I learned Spanish. I was still 4 years old, so I didn't really learn it, right? Like I didn't really study it. I just learned it naturally, the way you learn any other native language. That's why I feel like I need to give it like a native language status, because I did learn it the way you would learn a native language when you were a kid who contact with the language. Spanish did end up becoming the language in which I consumed most of the cultural stuff that I consumed, TV, books, everything. Then there's the language in which I'm recording this video, which is English. I feel like I have to be honest here. I hated English. I, honest to God, loathed learning English for the longest time. I hated everything about it, and I thought it was completely unnecessary to learn, which is fair. Like at the age of 5 when you start learning English, I was not thinking about going abroad. I was not thinking about living in another country, and I was like, I already speak Spanish, that is international enough, leave me alone. But well, when I was 11, my parents decided that enough was enough, and even though I was like consistently failing the subject, they decided to send me to an English summer camp. Basically, it was a summer camp where they would send you for about a month in July, I think it was, and you would be with native English teachers that in theory you were told they did not know any Spanish, so you would have to talk to them in English. And I remember we would have like classes in the morning for like grammar, speaking, all this stuff, and then in the afternoon we would have activities, but like still in English. And yeah, it was an experience. It was intense. And actually the first year they sent me at 11, I loathed it, absolutely hated it. I didn't really even make friends. My roommate was kind of an asshole, but then I was sent again at 12, and again at 13, and it was fun. I ended up making friends, and I even ended up in the last 4 years in uni reconnecting with people that were my friends in that summer camp, that we all ended up in the same university for some reason. So I basically had instant friends in uni. It was fine, I guess. And well, I did end up learning English, and after that I actually, like, my marks in school went just, once I started being good at something, I started liking it, which toxic trait, I know. But basically I hated English mainly because I was very bad at it. But the moment I got good at it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. I ended up doing the Cambridge exams. I think I ended up getting a C1 level. If I had done one more year of English Academy post the summer camp, I would have gotten the C2 level. I've had enough. So I was already fluent. I was doing a degree in English, and technically to this year, like, the only requirements that I find myself in is like, you need a C1 level of English, which I do have, so I think I'm good. I think I don't really need it. The next language that I chronologically was introduced to me was French. And okay, French is in a complicated state right now, because I can understand a lot of it. Most of it I would say I can understand, either from the connection with the Spanish or the education that I had in French, but I would not say that I'm able to speak it. What happens with French? I was introduced to French, or French was introduced to me when I was 14 years old in high school, because we had to pick a second foreign language, and it was either French or German. And I chose French at the time. Most people were on the science path were encouraged, or like who were good at sciences were encouraged to pick German, because basically like they would encourage you to do an engineering and then to go find a job in Germany. Wasn't sure what I wanted to do. Like, I wanted to study fine arts at the time, so yeah, I decided to go for French. And also because I was a massive fan of Dork's Diary, and in Dork's Diary, Nikki, the main character, studies French. So I went for French. I did 2 years of French, and I love French as a language. Like, I really like it, but I hated my teachers. Both of them, they were horrible, absolutely horrible, absolutely insanely bad. So I begged my mom so many times to let me quit. I really did not want to do that. I did not want to be there. I wanted to end it all. with French. And like I remember basically my mom was not letting me quit because she was like, you started something, you have to finish. But like that means 5 years of French before graduating, and with the same teachers because there were no other French teachers in my entire school. And I was like, I am not going to do that. So I remember my mom still talks about it. In the third year of high school, I just started failing. First semester, fail. Second semester, fail. Third semester, if my mom told me that I could next year pick another like elective subject, so I didn't have to do French again. And also, if you fail the third, like if you pass the third semester, the entire year would be passed. But if you fail the third semester, then you have to stay extra for like certain exams. And I did not want to stay extra in the school for summer. I wanted to go on the summer break. I got an 8 out of 10. My mom still tells like her friends and my aunts and stuff, like she just did it to spite me. I didn't do it to spite her, but it worked. I got rid of French. Right now, if I had time and the means for it, I would actually take a French course. I would actually like just do French for fun. But yeah, I did a lot of Duolingo, though I think Duolingo taught me more than those teachers. Anywho, so the next language that we have here is Chinese, which is currently a language that I'm still studying. I've studied 3 years of Chinese so far, with a hiatus there in the middle when I went on Erasmus. And I'm in my 4th year. I have, for the people who know what this means, the HSK3 title and the HSKK1. And I am working this year into getting my HSK4, but it's probably going to be impossible. I think I will have to next year also do the HSK4, because the HSK4 is a title that you usually get in 2 years, I think. How I came in contact with Chinese was when I started uni. I was once again given the opportunity to choose a second foreign language. It was either German, French, or Chinese, and I was not about to take that French class, because if I chose French, then I would have to do like 3 years of French, and I didn't know if the teachers were going to be better or not, and Chinese honestly sounded more interesting. So I picked Mandarin, and I did 2 years of Mandarin pre-Erasmus, then I did a year when I came back, and now I'm doing it online. I think I have like 2 hours a week plus like self-study. To be fair, it sounded the most interesting in a way. I feel like French or German are always such standard options in the Basque country to learn. Like I just wanted to do a different language, something that would be fun to start and different to everything that I knew, and that's why I chose Chinese at the time. Also, I'm trying to watch shows in Chinese, and I try to understand as much as possible. I don't get everything, but I get more and more each time, but I cannot stick to one. So like I started several. So if you have any recommendations of like shows that you've watched that they are very, very good, because I don't know if it's that my attention span is fried or that these shows are not that good. So if you have any recommendations about like shows that might be good that I might like, just drop them in the comments, and I would honestly like really appreciate it. If not, if you have like content creators or whatever, that would also work, honestly. The next, okay, these are the ones that we come to. And now these ones are not in order. So first I'm going to talk about Dutch, and then I'm going to go to Irish. So Dutch is the latest language that I've added to my roster, and this is because I've moved to Ghent. So I am in the Flemish part of Belgium, where they do speak Dutch, they speak Flemish Dutch. And so I've decided that I do need to learn a little bit of Dutch, because I don't know until when I will stay in this country in a way. Like my master takes 1 year, and then technically after 1 year I am done here, but for now though I am living here, so it makes sense for me to learn Dutch. I am not very motivated though. I feel like Dutch is and has never been one of the priority languages I wanted to learn. In a way, I feel like I want to learn, for example, Russian, Japanese, and Korean. Those are languages that always called me a little bit more, or French before Dutch. But I am living here, so I'm trying to romanticize it through like following some creators that are also in a journey to learn Dutch. And I am not enrolled in any classes yet, because Ghent does offer some classes, and I'm thinking about it, but I'll have to see, because it's like €200 for 1 semester, but then there's nothing to follow up the second semester or something like that. I don't know exactly how I'm going to do it. But yeah, €200 doesn't seem too bad. I might consider it, but yeah, it's like an entire situation there. And so for now, I am just self-studying a little bit here and there. I can say simple, very simple things, and I have a lot of vocabulary. I feel like I'm getting a lot of vocabulary, but I'm doing drops which is basically Kahoot, and then Anki and Quizlet, because I've dropped Duolingo since then, since the AI comments and stuff. I'm just doing like the other apps that I can find. If you have any like resources and stuff, I also have a book for grammar, but I feel like I'm just doing like the grammar lesson once and then forgetting about it. So I don't know how useful it is, because I actually don't have that many exercises there. And lastly, Irish. And here there is the part that I decided to flip them and say Dutch first before Irish, because Irish is not a language that I'm currently studying. I did a full year of learning Irish. In theory, I got an A2 level in Irish during my stay in Ireland. During my Erasmus year in Galway, the University of Galway didn't have Chinese as an option for me, so I had to choose another language, and they had like Italian, French, German, the standards, but I did not want to get into any of them, and I decided to go for Irish because as a fellow minority language speaker, it felt like I needed to do that, like be in Ireland and study Irish. So I did for the year, and it was fine, I guess. I don't know if it was the method of teaching or what happened, but I ended up being very demotivated very fast, and that's why I can say some sentences here and there. I'm not able really to speak it at all, or to understand that much, because I feel like I didn't make that big of an effort. Once I was demotivated, I was like, get me out of here, I'm not interested in that. So it's not like the language's fault or the teacher's fault. I think it's partly my fault. Well, and this is like the last one here, because probably I'm just going to end up forgetting it. I honestly don't see myself moving to Ireland for long periods of time. I don't see myself living in Ireland. I'm not going to be in Ireland for a period of time in which I will be able to learn the language again. And well, I have other priorities before going back to Irish, so that's why I think I'll probably end up forgetting the language. So my phone ran out of storage. I am sending the video to my computer, but we are prepared for this at this point, because it tends to happen a lot. If you're new in this channel, this happens a lot. And well, I think that is everything that I had to say, if it didn't cut before I finished my speech about Irish. So I think that's it for today's video. In the comments, let me know what languages you're studying, what languages you're interested in, and as I said, like any resources that you know for any of the languages that I talked about earlier, you can drop in the comments, and I would be very, very grateful for that. But this was it for today's video. If you like this video, you might consider subscribing, because for you it's not much, but for me it'll make my day. And I hope to see you soon. I don't know if here or somewhere else, we'll see, but for now this is it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one very, very soon. Bye bye.